to define, our learning objectives for this week are to differentiate between the various clinical information systems, to define clinical information systems, and to determine what clinical information systems are needed to meet the needs of a healthcare facility. At the same time, we will make recommendations on the use and implementation of document management systems. So I hope you are familiar with a document management system. And of course, there are many vendors that provide DMS systems, document management systems. Typically in HIM, you're going to see a doc management system and release of information. You might see it in other areas, but typically one place you can expect or anticipate to see it is in release of information. And of course, the goal is to retain documents, to be able to disclose and manage those documents and actually acquire data from the types of documents being managed, the dates that they are being disclosed, etc. And so what is the primary goal of a clinical information system? It is to collect, store information such as medical, nursing, ancillary services, radiology, and laboratory, and other therapy departments deemed necessary for healthcare. And of course, this data must be maintained under what? HIPAA requirements. Since health information systems have identifiable information, they must be protected and safeguarded under HIPAA mandates. As we continue, the other types of clinical information systems include document management systems we just spoke of, DMS, RIS for radiology information systems, LIS for laboratory information systems, nursing NIS, PIS pharmacy, and then other interdisciplinary charting systems. This may also include emergency department, anesthesia, patient monitoring, telehealth, smart cards, and it can include other administrative functions such as managed care or patient care management for services that include monitoring patient stays. Okay, it can also include other departments such as quality, okay, in terms of how they review information and how it's stored within the system. There are other various softwares under quality and other initiatives that can be interfaced with the health information system. So pretty much it can be limitless in terms of the applications that can be utilized. It's going to be based on your facility's functionality and their need. Typically, as I spoke of for the document management system, as you already know, it's used to manage and capture information, data collection, and it also provides statistics and other information necessary in terms of managing that information. And of course, how it's integrated into the system is typically by what? Optical imaging, or what's also called scanning for health information management. All right, some other means of capture, it can include voice, video, electronic transactions, and other means. However, we must be sure to make sure that as an HIMer, we are in fact incorporating the necessary authorizations for any information that's retained, if it is in fact a video or pictorial, or other information pertaining to a patient under HIPAA mandates. That is a requirement that is necessary. But in addition, it can store voice information. For instance, a clinician who may want to dictate a video for a clinician who may want to upload clinical pictorial video information, videography. And of course, it can also contain optical character recognition, OCR scanning. This is a means of tracking information as well. Also, it can index information such as barcode reading, which is one of the things the OCR is used for as well. It can index alphabetically, and you will find this in other document management systems, such as a master patient index. Now, that's the name of the index. That's very general, very generic, but it can be managed by an electronic software as well. Okay, under indexing tools, they allow the user to locate and retrieve the patient's information. As I spoke of in a master patient index, you will typically find this. A document management system is not the same as the electronic health record, and I believe you all are already aware of that information. Of course, the EHR conforms to nationally recognized interoperability standards that can be created, managed, and consulted by authorized clinicians. All right, and of course, an electronic health record is a little bit different than an EMR, and we discussed that previously, I believe, in some of our earlier chapters. So you can reference that in chapters 1, 2, and 3 when we went through the distinction between an EHR and an EMR. Under document management, an image can be retrieved by an authorized user. You can have, of course, multiple users and simultaneous access. It can be an image, of course, that we already spoke of. And then many healthcare operations that elect to implement, healthcare organizations that choose to implement a doc management system use it as a component of the electronic health record. And this is, again, just a sidebar, if you will, of that. It's not part of the EHR. It's transparent to the EHR. It's actually considered an administrative record, not utilized in a court of law unless there is a request for what? An accounting of disclosures in the release of information system. In the master patient index, it is only utilized as an administrative record. However, it can be subpoenaed in a court of law as necessary to identify a patient or in case of a police investigation. That information is not available to the requester. However, it's utilized based on what? The minimum necessary requirement you as an employee or based on your job title and your need to utilize that information. All right, we've talked about some of these in terms of the usage in the doc management system. Scanner is actually the hardware to the software of imaging. Some of your target sheets, those are the pages that will be scanned or imaged within the system. And of course, there's a workstation, and I believe some of you all have expressed to me that you've utilized scanning or that you are definitely aware of what this is and how it's done at your facility. All right, these are other components of the doc management system and how it's utilized. Of course, printers are associated and connected to doc management systems. Why? Information that's scanned in and imaged in has to eventually be what? Printed out and or put to another means of media to be disclosed. All right, annotation in reference to doc management is the ability to add an image in some way. And these are the means in which those images are added. Now, some of the things that are not covered here, and I'm not sure, but I want to mention here is that under a doc management system, one of the very important things that are necessary is a quality management system for ensuring that qualitative measures are actually instilled within the deployment of doc management. For instance, if a document is imaged or scanned into the system of doc management, you must make sure that the image is accurate, that it's positioned correctly, horizontally versus vertically, or whatever the exact requirement is for your facility. And that requirement will differ based on the varying types of reports that are coming in, based on the chronological and or chart order necessary for your facility, and they will decide that. There generally is a chart order that is distinguished within a system based on documents received within the system. Now, this is separate from EHR chart order, in which you have a distinguishing listing based on medical record chart order. Your imaging or doc management chart order can be distinctly different from that order. So whatever that order is, individuals should make sure that they adhere to that order and pay special attention to qualitative metrics involving imaging, making sure images are not distorted, making sure it's the correct patient who's identified on that document and what you've integrated that document into that EHR, making sure that identifiers match up, birth date, medical record number, etc. Okay, all of these qualitative measures must be taken in consideration of managing a doc management system. Is that done manually or is that done automated electronically? It's done manually. Individuals need to scrutinize that information. A system will not tell you if the information is correct, if it's the correct patient, if it's the correct medical record number. That information will not be gleaned from that software. It has to be manually reviewed. All right, some advantages and disadvantages. Space savings, that's an allocation of an advantage. It can retrieve large numbers of records. Productivity gains, and I didn't speak of that when I spoke of qualitative measures, but definitely quantitative measures should be heightened under a doc management system. So then productivity gains should be apparent within a doc management system. There may or may not be online availability. Now this, again, is going to differ and vary per facility. Reason being why. If you're on the network, there will be certain security measures that must be taken. However, if you're online, you will need certain levels of encryption and or auto authentication, which might entail a two-system authentication process. So that will vary based on your hospital, your healthcare facility, your IT department, and then system security controls. Other advantages include a database retrieval system that I spoke of, which should be readily available and it should not be time consuming. It should help, of course, enhance productivity. There is less lack of manipulation of manual sorting or managing reports. And then one of the disadvantages, if I can say that there is one, is the fear of change. And I think that is overwritten when, in fact, individuals can see the benefit of any database doc management system. The actual change will definitely supersede, the fear of change will supersede the benefits and advantages of a doc management system. All right, so this talks about how to become current in a doc management system, how you should in fact go back to make sure if there's anything in backlog that those things are current prior to going live. There are some institutions who choose to outsource, and that can be discussion with management at the HIM level or whomever is responsible for this functionality. Now, the thing about scanning I need to mention as well is that some scanning functions are centralized within HIM. Centralized meaning what? All of the ancillary departments send all of their scanning whether it's radiology department, laboratory department, cardiology, all of that information is sent to HIM. Some departments, and again, it depends on the size and the scope and scale of the facility, they may in fact employ their own imaging scanning personnel. And you will find this in larger institutions. How do you justify the cost of a doc management system? And so some of the things that you can look at definitely include what? Accuracy. Accuracy is what? Paramount. Accuracy can make a difference in terms of patient treatment, diagnosis, care, etc. Once an error is created in a system, that error, for instance, in EHR, it continues through the continuum of care to discharge and sometimes to the next level of care. So it is vitally important to ensure that accuracy is maintained at all time. I see that being the #1 reason why we can justify a doc management system. It definitely increases productivity, that we spoke of that earlier. And of course, timeliness and treating patients in the continuum of care. Okay, this goes into the specialty areas, and this is radiology, and these are the types of reports that are retained in radiology information systems. Now, I'm going to stop here and allow you all to finish this reading. Make sure you read about the PACS system. You all probably have been exposed to all of these specialties in terms of ancillary services, but please continue your reading. I've posted the entire presentation, the entire PowerPoint presentation, as I said before, under your syllabus on your homepage, lower right-hand corner. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much. Goodbye.